tonight's debate with candidates from Cayman Brac East, Cayman Brac West, and Little Cayman. Also moderating with me tonight is Mr. Orrit Connor. Tonight's debate will cover a wide range of topics, including district and national issues. I would like to thank each of the candidates for participating in this democratic process, which aims to help voters make a more informed choice among candidates for elected office. The format of the debate will begin with candidate introductions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to deliver a brief introduction. During this time, candidates will introduce themselves, describe their qualifications, and outline their political platform. The question and rebuttal part of the debate consists of a series of questions directed at individual candidates. Candidates will answer questions in alphabetical order by last name. The rules governing this segment: the moderator will ask one question to a selected candidate. The candidate will have 2 minutes to answer. After the initial response, any candidate who's directly referenced or at the moderator's discretion will have the opportunity to offer a 1-minute rebuttal to the answer. The original responding candidate will then have 2 minutes to reply to the rebuttal. The moderator has the discretion to ask the original responding candidate to clarify their response if needed, providing the candidate 30 seconds to do so. The duration of the debate will total 75 minutes max. At the conclusion of the debate, each candidate will have 2 minutes to deliver their closing statement. During this time, candidates may summarize their platform and make a final appeal to voters. At this time, I'll turn over to my co-moderator, Mr. Connor, for the general rules of the debate.
Good evening, candidates.
Evening.
General debate rules are: in relation to time limits, each candidate is expected to stay within the time limits. The moderator will ensure strict adherence to the time limits and ensure each candidate is given equal time to speak. What we will also do is, if the time limit is up, but you're in the middle of a sentence or finishing up your train of thought, we will allow you to continue rather than interrupting you abruptly to do that. We will then do that equally for each candidate who may find themselves in that situation. As far as respectful conduct is concerned, all candidates are expected to maintain a respectful and professional tone throughout the debate. Personal attacks and interruptions will not be tolerated. No personal devices such as cell phones, tablets, iPads, or laptops are allowed in the studio. Notes are allowed, and we have provided you with notepads as well, I believe, right? Having explained the debate format and general rules, I would like to welcome you to tonight's candidates for our first debate from Cayman Brac East. Ruth Ann Bodden, independent candidate. Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, People's Progressive Movement candidate. Maxine Moore, independent candidate. Dan Scott, candidate with the Cayman Islands National Party. We will begin with an introduction by each candidate. We will be starting with Ms. Bodden.
Hi, I'm Ruth Bodden. I graduated Cayman Brac High School in 1985. I went on to work at the Brac Reef, my first job into the tourism department, and into finance with tourism. And I've been in finance for 40 years. During that time, I've been through all the different departments of finance. And I've retired from Cayman Airways in January of this year to pursue standing up and continuing advocating for my people of Cayman Brac, which I have done silently for years. And I figured if I continued doing it silently, it was time for me to step out front and make people see the face of some of the things I've achieved over the years for not only Cayman Brac, for the Cayman Islands on a whole.
Ms. Juliana?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and thanks to Radio Cayman. Certainly, most people know me, but in compliance with the rules, I was born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac. I have a degree in teaching. I have also a degree in law. I attended St. Leo University, and in fact, I graduated with the highest GPA at that university back in 1979. I also, since then, was nominated the most outstanding alumni from that university, from Cayman Brac High School, now the Layman Scott High School, which I was honored to name many years ago after Mr. Layman Scott, our first principal. I also was nominated the most outstanding alumni from that high school as well. I attend the Watering Place Church of God. I'm a lay pastor. I've been in government from 1996 and held a number of positions, including the current position of Premier Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Financial Services, Commerce, Education, District Administration, Lands, Health, and Cabinet Office. I've been Deputy Premier twice. I've been Premier twice. I've been a Speaker twice. I've been under opposition 2 times, and it's not the best place to end that one. So I'm privileged. I've been minister many more times than opposition, because if you're not around the table, it makes it difficult. Even being around the table with 17 other MPs from Grand Cayman, it's a difficult situation to get funding. There are a number of accomplishments that I've done, too numerous to name right here, and hopefully there'll be another opportunity. My manifesto will go in circulation tomorrow. But to name a few, we've done the adult daycare. It was a tremendous achievement, because for a long time, our special needs adults were home and they were not very eager to come out. We're now, thank you, we're now very pleased to do that. We've also put computers in our school and many more wonderful things that often don't get talked about.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Moore?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maxine Evan McCoy Moore, and I was not privileged to be born in Cayman Brac, unfortunately, in 1958. I was born in St. Joseph Hospital, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Of no heritage at all from Jamaica. Not there's anything wrong with it, but it's just that I feel like I'm a full-time Cayman Bracer. Not really knowing that I was born in Jamaica until I was nearly 18 years old. But I did attend the Scott Bay Primary School and the Cayman Brac High School, renamed now the Layman E. Scott Senior High School. I was the instigator for the very first graduation, not only for Cayman Brac, but for the Cayman Islands as a whole. My dad took me to North Carolina to attend school in November, and I nearly froze to death. So I never did finish that. But I really wanted to be a nurse all of my life, and I did have 3 years training with Dr. Shibler, our first doctor at the Faith Hospital, on the job, that all of us were being given that time, the opportunity to excel in whatever you enjoyed doing from high school. And then in August the 6th, 1980, came Hurricane Allen, and I was then working as the secretary, clerical is what they call it, but I was really the bookkeeper. I done all of the budgeting for all of the works that needed to be done by Public Works in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. And they were so impressed, the people in Grand Cayman, how I got everything back in order in less than 10 days. And everybody on the job were very happy that they had the opportunity to have a job. And then I went on to Grand Cayman. I was secretary to the chief accountant. I done a lot of bookkeeping down there and got everything in order for computers. I was the first woman to sit behind a computer in the whole Cayman Islands. And I'm very proud to represent Cayman Brac East, because Scott Bay is my district.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Scott?
It's good evening, moderators, fellow candidates. Good evening. My name is Dan Scott. My father was Layman E. Scott Sr., who the high school was named after, and my mom is Martha Scott. And I grew up in Cayman Brac till I was about 11 years old, and then the family moved to Grand Cayman. I continued my education in the public system until I graduated. Following that, I, coming from a family with modest means, I applied for and received a scholarship, the first scholarship from Cayman National. I studied accounting, and on returning, I joined Ernst & Young, where I spent 40 years in a career. And following that, I retired in 2023, having reached the level of regional managing partner for Bermuda, Bahamas, British Virgin Islands, and the Cayman Islands. And having spent 40 years there, I also spent a lot of time making sure that I gave back, first of all, to Cayman Brac, which is where my heritage is, both through churches and otherwise, and also in Grand Cayman. And the other thing was critically important as a firm, making sure we gave scholarships to young Caymanians so they too could realize the dream that I had realized. Following that, it became pretty clear, and I served on numerous boards for government, but it became pretty clear as I approached retirement that we had a challenge, that our country, and I probably, albeit retired, would have to step forward and continue to offer my service and my public service. And as a result of that, I am running for Cayman Brac East as a candidate in the upcoming election.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Audience and candidates, at this time, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will begin, with our round of questioning for our candidates. And just to say that those questions were only available to the moderators about an hour before the start of this, and none of the candidates have been privy to the questions before this time as well. So we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will start with the round of questioning.
We are Radio Cayman, covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million. Feeding a crowd? Subway Catering makes it easy. Choose from freshly made sub and wrap platters in 2 sizes, or go for individual boxed meals, complete with a 6-inch sub, cookie, and chips. Perfect for groups of 15 or more. And don't forget dessert. Our freshly baked cookie platters come in 2 sizes, so there's always enough to go around. Visit www.subway.ky to view our catering menu. You can call or email us to place your order. Then choose to pick up in-store or get hassle-free delivery. However you cater, we've got the fresh flavors everyone loves. Subway. Eat fresh. Cater with ease.
It's spring savings at Reflections. Shop the Red Tag sale this April at Reflections. Save on kids, men's, and women's selected style shoes and sneakers. Brands like Nike, Puma, Reebok, and Dockers, 50% off. Adidas, 60% off. Ladies' jeans in select styles at 50% off. And ladies' tops from $9.99. Men, step out in your Levi's $5.50. Now 25% off. All accessories and handbags, 50% off. Shop the Red Tag sale at Reflections all month long and be entered to win 2 Cayman Airways tickets. That's mad!
Come on, let me in. Oh, I can't cope with Karen in the office no more, man. Another day of her could drive me mad. I got so much laundry to do home. Oh, another message? Man, is traffic not moving today or what? Come on, let me in now.
Life is all about the choices we make to deal with the office Karens or sit in this long traffic, or a choice to pursue your dreams to improve your future. UCCI. It's not the classes, the grades, or a piece of paper. It's your ticket for the adventure of your choice. The choice to live your dream. Stop waiting on the path. Visit www.ucci.edu.ky. Choose your dream and blaze your trail today.
At Enterprise Cayman, we're connecting ambitious minds with real-world opportunities. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, tech enthusiast, or looking to expand your network, we've got the tools, training, and community to help you thrive. From career-boosting internships to hands-on startup support, this is where innovation begins. Don't miss out on the upcoming hackathon happening May 10th. Explore this and more today at enterprisecayman.ky. Enterprise Cayman. Innovate, connect, grow.
Hey, Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents? Browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students? Just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
We are Radio Cayman, covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman. 1 in a million.
We now return live to Cayman Brac for a continuation of the proceedings, the political debate here on Radio Cayman.
Welcome back to our Cayman Brac East debate. We're going to start with our first round of questions. As mentioned in the first segment, each question will be directed at a particular candidate. They'll have 2 minutes to respond, and should any other candidate wish to respond, they'll have 1 minute, followed by a 2-minute rebuttal for the original responder. We begin with Ms. Bodden. Projects like the proposed Port Zeus Marina have sparked discussion about infrastructure development in Cayman Brac. How do you propose to manage such developments to ensure they benefit the local community without compromising the island's character and environment?
Number one, I don't support the Port Zeus because of the damage that it would cause to the island. The way that the island is situated, we don't have safe harbor, we don't have coves, so cutting into our island would cause the ocean to have a more availability to flooding our island, and like emergency services response times would not be able to happen if we did do that. Yes, we do need a marina. I do encourage investment, but it needs to be properly and thoroughly thought out before we agree to such things. And when we encourage investment, it has to be that the benefit goes to our Caymanian people first.
Thank you, Ms. Bodden. Does any candidate wish to add? Ms. O'Connor-Connolly?
Yes, certainly. I wish to put on record, obviously, that I support Port Zeus. I don't have any pecuniary interest or any other interest but to see the enhancement of the economy in Cayman Brac. There is currently an EIA that's being done, and those persons that know Department of Environment, when they do an EIA, it's done very, very detailed. And so it is envisioned that the next government, which God's willing I hope to be a part of, would fully see the completion of the EIA, analyze it, and make sure that it's in keeping with the culture and heritage of Cayman Brac. Certainly, I agree with Ms. Ruth that a harbor is needed. I've been in a situation where we had a local person, actually the owner of this hotel, who died in Little Cayman, and we had difficulty getting a boat out to go and pick him up to Little Cayman. And so it's very much needed for emergency services as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor-Connolly. Does any other candidate wish to address?
Yes. Sorry.
Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Dan. I would like to say that I too support port, but the only thing that I have against the plans that I've seen is that they're going to cut in straight to nearly marketplace, and I feel that that should be put out in the sea, and it can be made out into the sea. And I sure hope and pray that it does give the opportunity, the jobs, the opportunity to Cayman Brac students, especially to graduate from high school, and not just hiring people from overseas just because they have the experience and the paperwork to back them up. That those people should be trained on the job, what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And to me, that would be much better.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moore. Mr. Scott?
Yes, thank you. My view on it is that it does need to go through the robust EIA process, and I think they've been doing a good job on that. Ultimately, once that is completed, I think it does go back in understanding what the majority of people of Cayman Brac would like. And I do think that's a process that we can get through, and then that's where the determination is made. Once they're comfortable from the standpoint of dealing with the environment, then it is very much up to the people of Cayman Brac to make that decision as to what they want. And accordingly, I would support whatever they choose.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Bodden, you do have a right of reply should you wish to exercise it.
It's fine.
Thank you. We'll go on to the next question. And for this one, we'll begin with Ms. O'Connor Connolly. The question reads, there is a rising concern about drug use, particularly among young people in the sister islands. What programs or partnerships would you support to tackle drug abuse at its root through prevention, education, and rehabilitation?
Thank you very much for the question. That is a correct assessment. In fact, it's throughout all the Cayman Islands, including Little Cayman. It's not only hurt to the user, but also to their family members. Having been in for a while, I know what it is for families to call you out. Being an attorney, I see what the issues and stuff are. I still believe that he has founded upon disease, and the ultimate solution is when you serve the Lord Jesus Christ, you realize that you can overcome such things. Now, I understand that there are some within our community, especially of late, who don't necessarily believe in the power of faith and miracles. I still do, and I'm not ashamed of that. And so the churches have a role to play as they continue with their Sunday schools and in teaching and in supporting, and to be the Samaritan, not walk on another side when they see persons in drug abuse. We also need to ensure that we establish proper mental health programs, because a lot of it comes through depression, for some form of rejection. Somewhere along their life, they felt that they fell through the various social stratifications. And so we need to make them know that they are valued, they're uniquely made. We also have the National Drug Counseling Program. And so they have access to that. Government funds that, and it gives annual grants to that program. We need to get more volunteers. Some persons who have been in drugs and who have overcome it, those are the best testimonials. And if we can do mentorship with them, I know that there are some here now, the persons even in Grand Cayman have helped. We've sent them to overseas to get special assistance. But I believe that the biggest thing is that self-worth, to let them know that they are somebody, that they are uniquely made. There's not a next person like them. And together we can accomplish it.
Thank you so much, Ms. O'Connor Connolly. Does any other candidate wish to address this question? Ms. Moore, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ms. Julie. What you said, I quite agree with tremendously on everything that you pointed out. But I personally feel that the drug problem in the Cayman Islands is being treated as a habit, and personally, I feel it's not a habit; it's a disease, and it's a disease that we have to treat not only mentally but physically too. Mm-hmm. And I also feel that we are not patrolling our sea borders sufficient, and we're not, and I mean with all three islands, not just one like they're doing right now. And then we need to also see within that realm that we hire people that actually care and that actually show that they care, not only just care for the dollar, but care.
Thank you.
And we thank God for each day.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Does any other candidate wish to respond?
I think with the drugs education for the children would be good. Years ago, we had a DARE program that was introduced in all the schools from time I was in primary school. And it taught us what to see, what to expect if you did drugs. So it did put a fear into us not to do it because it was against the law. And then the effects that it had on us as humans deterred a lot of us not to even try it. So I think it needs to start from school, educating the kids on the dangerous way of what happens to you when you meddle with these kind of drugs. So we need to start from the primary school.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bodden. Mr. Scott.
It is heartbreaking to see where we have reached. We have young people who have this sense of hopelessness, and they are turning to self-medicating, using illegal drugs. And then the other part of it is once they go through the process, and in some cases have ended up in jail, when they get back out, there's no way for them to get back into society, to get back a job. They can't even get a bank account. We have a lot of work to do together because we cannot allow those folks to be lost in the shuffle. When we look at the Cayman Islands and the broad opportunities that so many people from all over the world come and achieve, and our own people are struggling, we have to do better.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. O'Connor Connolly, you have the right of reply.
Thank you for that, Ray. I want to say that that's the genesis of the road work program. Many years ago, we found that many of them, I think we're up to 50-something, 60, could not get into the regular civil service. And in fact, that is still a problem. In Grand Cayman, they do 3 weeks for the year. Here, we've been able to escalate it to where they do 3 weeks per month. And the reason for that was the advice from the Attorney General that if they did 4 weeks, they'd be considered civil servants and would have to get the benefits. And I have fought vehemently and worked as citizen to ensure that they got their benefits of pension and health, but also Section 55 of the Constitution prevents that. Why am I bringing that in is because with that group, they have worked meticulously on Cayman Brac and kept our roads, scrupulously clean. But because of how the Constitution is, and we're not an independent territory, Section 55 of the Constitution says that we can't hire, we can't fire, we can't change their salaries or whatever. And so all we can do is try to set the policies. I've actually put funds in. I've actually taken out of my own pocket. When one of their mothers died and they had to stay home, the government would not pay for it. And I paid for those days when they're there. And so that would be one thing that I think whoever got in needs to work with the DG and the governor and POCs to ensure that those benefits are given. Yes, a lot of them, made mistakes. Who in here who have made a mistake throughout their life journey? But there are people and we have to take care of them. And finally, just to say, we've given the police just under $2 million in this month. And there's also Section 12 for the next government, but commitment from the cabinet to hire 79 more police. And in addition, we've given almost $5 million to Coast Guard to get radars, and they're in the process now of procuring those because, as Ruth Ann said, we have 3 borders, and oftentimes because we don't have the numbers here, we don't get the attention that you need, and I've made sure that's happened. There will be radars, more cameras, and so it's not just going to be a punitive, it's preventive. It starts from home, however, not in the school. The school just complements.
Thank you so much, Honorable Premier. The next question, you gave me 2, I got it. The next question is for Ms. Moore. What policies would you implement to strengthen food security and empower the farming community in the Brac to thrive and expand their contributions to the national economy?
Thank you. I've been pushing for agriculture from time I started in 1996 because I'm a firm believer that everybody should have a front yard, backyard, or side yard farm. And I do have one in Little Cayman and Cayman Brac here if the iguanas and the fowls would leave it alone. But for years now, we've been listening to every government that go in Grand Cayman because they're the ones that controls Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, those 17 down there in comparison to the 2 that we have up here. And those people have gone Panama, Cuba, Jamaica, Honduras, and say they're going to get food cheaper. And nothing has been done except spending the government money, which is we the people are the government money, to say they're going to do something and it never does. So we're still only importing food really from the US of A. And at the rate that the new president is going, we soon won't be able to get that. But I would push for a lot more agriculture, especially on Cayman Brac Bluff and every section of Grand Cayman and Little Cayman that people can possibly help by, growing their own food like how we done way back when. We never imported anything. We had nothing to import except one or two things from Jamaica, fruits and vegetables and meats. But we can do better for our people with agriculture. And I do think that needs to be, I would say, good, but after health, education, agriculture would be the next that I would really want to see set in place in a proper manner for everybody, not just a chosen few.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Does any other candidate wish to respond?
Yes, certainly.
Madam Premier.
Thank you. All in sundry know that agriculture is very near to me. I'm a farmer in the limited free time that I have. I'm in a bluff. I grew up as a farmer's daughter and granddaughter. Certainly, I think what would help is that we need to, and I've been trying to get this in the current minister have, given undertaken, we need to get an arbiter so that we can get, as we bring in, we give farmers a grant to bring in good livestock from the United States and from Jamaica, but we also now need to take it up a notch so that the supermarkets will be able to take it as well because it's properly graded. We have an inspector already. For years, actually, I started grow what you eat and eat what you grow in backyard farming and not just backyard, but especially with what's happening in the United States now with the tariffs that going on. We need to get more serious with the regional cooperation, not just Central America and the Caribbean, but as far as South America, because we know that the United States, we import pretty much a lot of everything, right? And so once you have a third party and the prices go up, we also need to invest.
To beat that, you cage them up. So that's how I've taken care of that problem. And now I get my own eggs, but I don't eat them, so I just give them away to people that need them. But I do support agriculture, and we do need a full-time veterinary because this weekend alone, we had someone wanted to butcher a pig and a cow a weekend before, and there was no one here to sign off on that. So we do need to bring that back home here, and maybe bringing in more produce from overseas until we can get our own people here into more farming. But I do support that. I grew up with my grandparents doing it. I've chased cows on early Saturday morning up the bluff. I wouldn't do it again at my age, but it was something we look forward to every morning real early to do. And it did help in the community when we did our own farming here at home.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bodden. Mr. Scott, do you wish to?
Yes, thank you. I think one of the key things as well is we need to make sure that Cayman Brac gets the same opportunity as Grand Cayman. For example, when they bring in livestock, we're always an afterthought. We need to change that, including the transportation over here because it's quite costly for the farmers. The other thing I do think is really important is working closer with our neighbors in the region and trying to figure out we need to solve for that, starting wherever others have done. And then the other final part is around ensuring that we're utilizing technology, aquaponics, hydroponics, container farming. And further, I would say that we also need to be able to subsidize our farmers. They start a crop, the wind comes in, it blows it down. They need to be guaranteed, even as they start, if midstream that happens, that they're still paid for that crop, because farming is a tough thing, but it is a very important thing.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Moore, you do have the right to reply, should you wish to respond.
Just to tell her, say I did try to cage him up, but it picked me too much. So I never did caught him.
Thank you. We'll go to our last question for this round of questions. And that question is to Mr. Scott. What innovative strategies will you champion to diversify the Cayman Brac economy?
Thank you for that question. The Cayman Brac economy is one that really we need to bring more private sector jobs to the Brac. And one of the areas there which I would look to do is to bring more financial services job to Cayman Brac. The beauty about what we have now in the world that we live in is one can work remotely, starting with folks from home. And the idea here is sort of to bring back Cayman Brackers to Cayman Brac. They all miss Cayman Brac dearly and would love to be back. They just need jobs. So with financial services in particular, I'm confident that we can attract those businesses to establish a presence here and in return bring high-paying jobs back to the Brac and also make it available to folks coming out of high school or indeed university when they return. So that would be the primary area of focus.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Does any other candidate wish to address that point? Ms. Moore?
Yeah, as I said, I started from 1996 running for when you had 2 X's. So I've been bringing this all up over the years that Grand Cayman, the people should be all of these overseas banks and overseas reinsurances because during the time, my near 15 years living and working in Grand Cayman with the government and with Cayman insurance brokers, I said that everybody that can want to come and open a business should been encouraged to put at least one office with one person hired on top the bluff in case of a bad storm. Because I do recall from way back when Hurricane Gilbert in 1988, that the people had to run to Bahamas, ABC Islands, Jamaica, all over the place to continue their business before they could come back to the Cayman Islands, which basically is just Grand Cayman. So I would support that, what Dan said, tremendously.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moore. Does any other candidate wish to address that point?
Yes, certainly.
Mr. Connor Connolly.
This current government, obviously since the advent and the unsolicited visitor of COVID, has allowed people to work remotely, and that has opened up new doors for the Brac. And so we see that we have the pension office here, we have companies here, we have had 11 additional firemen here. But one of the difficulties that we had, and it was delayed because of COVID, was the renovation of the existing district administration building, because there's a dire shortage of commercial rental space. So even though there are positions available for persons to come, COVID slowed it down some, and so there are now funds in the budget to complete the renovation of district admin. And I would ask any private sector persons who are looking for investment, both in Cayman Brac or Cayman Brackers who've made it in Grand Cayman, to invest in rental properties here, both for residential as well as commercial, because persons want to come. We've put a lot of waivers in, a lot of incentives in to attract persons here, not just in financial services, which we believe that we should also get, but also in medical tourism, sports tourism as well.
Thank you so much, Ms. O'Connor Connolly. Mr. Scott, you do have the right of reply should you wish to exercise it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I think from our standpoint, when we consider this, we would, in the short term, look to attract people back. Many people who have family members here or already have property. And the beauty about it with technology, as I mentioned today, they're able to work remotely. One of the things which I'm really pleased to see, and credit to Mr. Donnie Dixon for bringing the registry to the Brac. And that in itself has been a huge boost and would underscore and be a cornerstone for the financial services businesses that come up here to operate. So I think it is doable. I think we start the journey, and I think that's something we can do quite quickly.
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn over to my co-moderator, Mr. Connor, for the remainder of today's question.
That's okay, Jeb. I don't even look Irish anyway. So this begins our second round, and we will start with you, Ms. Bodden. Do you believe the current number of officers assigned to the sister islands is adequate? If not, what specific budgetary or policy proposals would you champion to increase recruitment and retention of officers?
Are you talking of police?
Yes.
Well, growing up, I was raised by 2 police officers. My mom was Cayman Brac's first policewoman. They worked under Miss Juliana's dad, Mr. Clemens. And at that time, there were 12 police officers. It's now 2025, and we have 9. So my question is the crime in the Brac decreased, or are we undermanned? And I think it is, we are undermanned. Our officers need to be cross-trained, because whenever there is an issue, we have to get officers flown from Grand Cayman to come over here to deal with our problems. So some of the funding that they were given the other day needs to go towards the Brac getting at least 12 to 16 officers so that they could be able to rotate for vacation days and sick time and other functions.
Does any other candidate wish to respond to that?
Definitely. Being a daughter, as Ruth said, of a policeman who actually came up during the days we had to stay at the Creek Police Station, I've advocated. We had 12. I think the perfect number for the Brac is 16, and I believe Little Cayman should have 4. And as I indicated, we gave, and you would see in the preview that it's been so politicized because persons haven't really taken a deep dive. We've given the Commissioner of Police some $10 million to get his extra. He came to us, made an excellent presentation, and he happens to be a Cayman Bracker. So if we don't get an increase now, then the chances are almost next to nil. Various commissioners took different views. Mr. Moderator, they felt that our numbers and our demographic did not justify it. We're completely opposed to that because we know where a lot of the drugs are coming from. Cayman Brac is the first stop. Little Cayman is not on the radar. There's 2 police, and so it's undersubscribed with police. Not only have we supported it, but we've given him the money to go and hire with the condition, as you know, of same operation, what's in it for Cayman Brac. And that will continue to be my modus operandi.
Thank you very much. Any other candidate?
I would like to say that I am one of the candidates that knows all 3 Cayman Islands just about like the palm of my own hands. And as I see it in Little Cayman, raising up between the 2 islands all of my life, that they don't give the police officers the jobs I see them doing up here and the jobs I see them doing in Grand, they're not doing in Little. Like, for example, inspecting vehicles. We have to wait every 2 weeks now before it was once a month in Little Cayman. Cayman Brac here has other people and not just the police officers doing it. But what I'm saying is that all 3 islands should be policed equally. And that way I would feel as if, yes, we're 3 Cayman Islands and not just 1.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Thank you. The answer is yes. We do need additional officers. We also need additional technology to be able to manage our borders. In many cases, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman are the first points of contact coming in. And then the other thing I would say is that we need our officers to also integrate into the community and understand the community. Because the best form of policing comes from the public and the intelligence that they gather. And historically, when we've had Cayman Brackers as police officers, that has made such a difference. So the answer is yes, but I think it's even broader than just numbers.
Okay. Ms. Bodden, you have a right of response if you so wish.
With the policing, we do need our own Coast Guard base. I was the one that was instrumental in the creation of the original Cayman Islands Coast Guard. I went after that from 2013, then finally in 2016, Mr. Mose listened to me and we got our Coast Guard going in 2021. It was officially itself. And once we get that would help our borders, that would help cut down on the drugs, and it would help the land-based police officers a lot also. And it will bring us a lot of jobs because based on their scheduling, we should have at least 25 jobs for our Cayman Brac based Coast Guard.
Thank you, Karen.
Can I just, on a point of elucidation, if there is We have given a property for that here.
But you can include it in
Okay.
your next response, Ms.
Thank you.
Connor. As a matter of fact, the next question is to you, so you'll get to continue from there. And the question is, speeding has become a growing concern in the Sister Islands, particularly in residential areas and also near to schools. What practical steps would you take to address road safety in the Sister Islands?
Thank you. Before going on to that real quick, I'll just dovetail into the last question. We have designated the bike property off Frigate Road for Mr. Scotland for the Coastal Guard, and have given support for money and some money for that. So it's just a matter of procurement and timing for that to happen, and for appropriate boat dock along Frigate or in the watching place area for the boat to come. Speed, and obviously, yes, Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac as well. We know who most of the culprits are, and the police here go out with their speed guns. I would support that. Minister Isaac has given undertaking for, I think it's 14 to 16 extra speed cameras and cameras on Cayman Brac. The Commissioner of Police have worked with them to show the best locations for them. We've also planned to implement, as we did in Savannah, who had a similar problem, to show what the speed limit is, and in conjunction with the speed cameras where you get automatic ticketing. Minister J have put in amendments to the traffic law that if you 3 strikes, you're out. It would go towards you losing your license. It will go towards the increase of your insurance. And in fact, I would like it to go further. If you're on a work permit, and a lot of speeders are work permit persons early in the morning, they're not the only ones, but they're the vast majority, then you would lose your license. Simple as that. It should be a zero tolerance. We've had too many deaths on the street and too many persons who've lost their quality of life as a result of speeders. We'd also ensure that there are proper crosswalks, and Minister J has undertaken to do those within this year. Obviously, there's an election, but there's budgetary funds for that to continue in Cayman Brac, as has been done in some of the districts.
Thank you very much, Ms. Julie. Any other candidate wish to exercise their right to respond?
I think with the speeding, the police presence, if they themselves, it's not enough to cover. So we would need like auxiliary officers that would be able to assist, and their presence in certain areas would be like 3 times a day is your busy time. The morning times, lunch times when people are rushing home to get lunch, and evening times going home from work. The police need to show their presence a lot more in certain areas like school zones at 3. That would help. And in residential areas in the afternoons, they need to be on the road more. They are not doing that.
Any other candidate?
What was the topic? Speeding or stealing?
Speeding.
I can read it again for
Yes,
you
please.
if you wish. Speeding has become a growing concern in the Sister Islands, particularly in residential areas and near schools. What practical steps would you take to address road safety?
There's a lot of things you could address, but I would like to start by saying that we need to clamp down, because believe you me, it's not in the daytime that I see the problem in Spot Bay. It is at night. When you're in your bed sleeping, man, when they fly across my house, you think they're Max 8, or better yet, the BA that comes from England. They're going so fast, and Conway Town is right up along the road. They're going east flying and coming back flying. So they need to understand that as they hit a certain place, whether there's a police officer there or not, a camera will be there, and there will be picked up, and they will come to their house instead of the police chasing them, making them get an accident and dying. Then it's best for them to get the license plate and go straight to their house.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir. There's no question that when people sit behind the wheel of an automobile, they can turn it into a deadly weapon. And speeding does that. We're seeing too many traffic fatalities, too many injuries, and the whole idea to utilize cameras and indeed enforcement, and added to all that, the consequences for doing so, in particular people who are on work permits, we should not allow them to come to our country and put at risk our loved ones. We should start to have zero tolerance for this and make it very clear, if that is what you're here to do, we're not going to welcome you. So I think there's no question we need to deal with it, and through things such as technology like cameras will help us be able to do that quite quickly.
Ms. O'Connor, Connolly, you have the right of response, final response.
Thank you for the opportunity. Just wish to reiterate, Mr. Moderator, that MINSA does have the funding, and it's a matter of procurement to get it done. Obviously, there are other districts as well, so you compete against that, but he has commitment. He was here visiting. I do believe that our police are stretched. They have a lot of responsibility, but they do go out. And I've been around long enough to know that when we did have police here who made it their business to just do speeding, the population here called the Grand Cayman and asked for the police to be removed. So it has to be a balance. Persons need to understand that even if it's not their family has been affected, it could be somebody's child or grandchild or just a human being. And so I strongly advocate for the expedition of the cameras to be installed as soon as possible once they go through the procurement possibilities, and for enforcement to be done. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be from the lower echelons or you could be the top 5 families. It should be an equal level playing field for all.
Okay, this next question is directed firstly towards you. Considering the environmental sensitivity of Little Cayman and the recent development proposals, how would you balance the need for development with the need for environmental sustainability in preserving the islands, that is Little Cayman's, or the islands' natural habitats and biodiversity? Sort of long, but if you want me to repeat it, I can.
It's a very good question, and it can be answered in many, many ways. But I would like to say, you're referring to Little Cayman or both islands?
Little Cayman.
Little Cayman. Okay. The first thing that I see that needs to be done there environmentally is for the people to be treated like people, whether they're Caymanians or not Caymanians. And with that, we need a resident doctor. Definitely, telephone doctoring does not work, right? We also need a proper airport that has lights on it. They've been talking about this from time I was a little girl, 1977. They put in a plan and nothing has been done to date. When it comes to environmental around Little Cayman, they need it to be patrolled a whole lot more. There's a lot of open spaces there that anybody can come in and do as they feel like. I really don't wish to see anything built tremendously there to be a concrete jungle, but at the same time, we must take care of not only the animals like we're doing now, but the people must come first. And not only Caymanian people, but the whole entire island is a diverse set of people from all over the world. Environmentally, we need a whole lot done in Little Cayman. And every one of those ministers in Grand should be visiting both of these islands, not only just for the environment, but to find out exactly what needs to be done. In fact, some of them in there for years and you don't see them at all. So I would really like to see them stop killing the cats. And that way the rats will stop eating us out. Because when they put the rat poison, you know what happened then? It killed 2 of my dogs. I had 3 because the rat ran out and the dog chased after the rat.
Thank you.
And it killed the birds and it killed the iguanas and it killed all of the animals except the human beings.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Candidates wishing to respond, starting.
Mr. Moderator, if I would, obviously Little Cayman, like Cayman Brac, is very near and dear to my heart. It's just about 5 miles across. There's 2 trains of thought. Some just want it to be a green island, and some want to see development. Obviously, many Little Caymanians, indigenous Little Caymanians, are probably cash poor, but land rich. So it's unfair to them to sterilize their properties and say you can't do absolutely anything, but the iguana can do everything. That causes some hard feelings, and we're about unity and building a united Cayman Islands, which historically has been the formula for our success. I believe that it has to be a balance between development. In a development, Little Cayman obviously goes through Development Control Board of Cayman Brac, who are all local persons of local knowledge, and they have a feeling, you know, all of us, although we were born in Cayman Brac, we go to Little Cayman for some reason, and I believe that if they get the balance right, where it doesn't seem that it's a big stick for the environment, persons will adhere much more willingly.
Thank you very much, Ms. O'Connor-Connolly. Any other candidate? Ms. Bodden?
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Scott?
Yes, thank you. Little Cayman, like each of the other three islands, are very, very unique. Mm-hmm. It does need balance. The reality is we cannot simply have people imposing what they deem to be international standards on our people. We have to ask the Caymanian or the Little Caymanian people, how do we create that balance? And the truth has been is they've done a great deal towards preserving it, far more than the newcomers. But it always feels as if we're waiting for somebody else to come and tell us what to do. So my thing is that we need to engage those people in Little Cayman who've been there a long time and understand what do they need to do. Critically important that we do protect the iguanas, and we can do both. We just need to engage our people, Caymanians, Cayman Brackers, Little Caymanian. They're smart and they know how to do it, and they have taken care of this place and built it to what has attracted everybody else to come.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Moore, you have a final right of response.
I have nothing more to say because it would be too long.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Scott, this question is directed to you. It's in regards to employment. What groundbreaking initiatives will you propose to create sustainable job opportunities for Cayman Brac residents in emerging industries?
Thank you for the question. As I mentioned earlier, obviously there is the financial services industry. Added to that is technology, which is not only coming, but it is here for us. And indeed, many of our youngsters, that's an area I think they would benefit from. Part and parcel of that is the knock-on effect as you do get families returning to the Brac. You will find that things such as construction of homes and whatnot and opportunities for young Caymanians coming out and taking up things, whether it is electricians, carpenters, masons. And that was one of the things that we had back in the days when you had Mr. Eddie Scott at the high school. The people who came out from there learnt those skills and built those skills, and now today are contractors in Cayman Brac. So when we look at it holistically, we have the opportunity to bring financial services jobs here, but also to bring technology jobs to Cayman Brac as well. So I look forward to being able to do that and provide opportunities for Brackers coming back home, but also for folks coming out of high school and out of university.
Okay. Any other candidate wishes to respond?
Every year we have kids that graduates from school, and we'll see maybe 3 that is not part of the honor roll getting the awards, and they're sitting there. Our problem is from time they hit year 6, we should know whether that child going to be doctor, lawyer, accountant, and we should start targeting them to enter trade school. So we need a trade school to help them. That way they can get jobs into electrical, plumbing, something else, because what is happening, they're being left on the side. So they're not getting jobs. And then we've lost where we controlled our finances in the Brac. We have lost that. So we've lost jobs where Grand Cayman pays for everything for us. If you go to NAU for help, we got to call Cayman and get that approved first. So it's like we're restricted. So that those jobs have been removed from us here. So once we get that back, we get jobs back.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Certainly, that's where the new high school comes in. It is value for money, and that is not just in a brick and a mortar, but it's having a vision not just for today, but into the future so that we can train. And once person take a deep dive into the new high school, they'll see that the additional curriculum and the infrastructure not only provides a first complete SE and special education needs, where some of those persons may not have the academic capacity, but they're excellent with their hands. Mm-hmm. And we'll also see that as a result of moving that to the Bluff, for many other reasons I don't have the time here to explain, but the current Layman Scott High School campus, the vision for that is to complement the new high school where public works. And we know that from 1 to 4, because of the heat, it's diminishing returns. They would be involved what we call MEP program, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, where they would go and upskill there. But it would also offer the possibilities for hospitality schooling, for diversification of medical tourism. We have little space for the nursing program in Grand Cayman, and we have the Iron Forest, so we can expand there. The Cayman Brac campus allows the perfect example, because we have a hospital here that we can do medical training as well.
You.
Time don't permit me to continue, but there's much, much more.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Moore?
I'm really, really happy to hear that, because I've been boasting to people that what's the word? Complaining to me all over Grand Cayman every time I go there. Oh, you're wasting $60 million on school. No, we ain't. I say it's not going to cost $60 million, probably cost $150 million, because we're going to put dorm school, we're going to put trade school, we're going to put training our children is the most important thing that we're missing right now. Right now, they come out of high school and the only place for them to go straight to the bar room or up in a cave to do something they ain't supposed to be doing. So, to me, education is the key to life, right? And God gave us all common sense. So if we build a good trade school, a good dorm school, a good high school, and instead of the UCCI being rented from somebody to build in, we get a good up-to-date university, and the children in Grand Cayman can come up here and learn a trade, right? And they will then learn they have 3 islands, not just 1, 2. I can't forget to keep saying that.
Thank you. Mr. Scott, do you wish to exercise your right of response?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I think starting point is that we do need to recognize, and we talk all too often about the difference between technical and vocational and academics. And one of the things I think is really important for us to do is to bring them together. One is not better than the other. One is not more important than the other. And so when we are developing facilities, we need to make sure that they're all at the same high quality table.
Yes.
Now I have a question, and I'm not convinced on the question of value for money. And so that is the other thing that we do need to make sure we are doing, because there's no question that we do need a new school. We need a lot more infrastructure than just a school, but it remains the question as to whether it's value for money. And the second question is, how do we make sure when we are spending the kind of money we're spending to build this school, that we have more Cayman Brackers getting jobs to be able to do so. So I think those are the things that are critically important as we look at this.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I'm going to turn back over to my co-moderator, Mr. J.B. Eubanks.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. We've now entered our last round of questions, and this question goes to Ms. Bodden. What actions do you think can be taken to resolve the affordable housing crisis in the Sister Islands?
Right now, the problem with the affordable housing crisis is we can't find contractors that is willing to give a proper rate per square foot. Because based on what is out there, $200 a square foot, and a home costing $300,000, you might as well try to go to the bank, because that is not affordable housing, not at that rate per square foot. So to resolve that, we would have to probably create our own construction company to be able to build affordable housing instead of looking out there in the market, because the market for that is not feasible at this time, because it's either $200,000 to $200 a square foot to $550 a square foot. You can't build a home for that. You'll have to live in a shipping container on a piece of property, but not a house. So government would have to create its own construction company to be able to beat that system, because nobody is working with the program.
Does any other candidate wish to respond?
Yes, absolutely. If I may, Mr. Moderator, what Ruth Ann says exactly what's happening. I've put an extra $1 million into the affordable housing system over here to get homes, and it's been like pulling teeth. We've been out several times to get bids, and it's ranged from $200,000 a house to $460-something, $85,000 for a house. So basically, we were finally able to sign off for 4 to local persons here to build at the Spot Bay area, where we purchased land, five house spots, probably about 2 ministries ago when I was in charge. What we have also done, we've acquired property throughout Cayman Brac, and some in Little Cayman next now to the Public Works building, so that we can offer affordable housing to them. And so we put the equity of the property in, but that's still not enough for the bids that have come back in to build these homes. So what I've just had to do, I've just injected another $600,000 about 2 weeks ago into the affordable homes so we could sign off for the 4 homes to be built. And government is now also subsidizing over and about affordability gap.
Thank you so much, Ms. O'Connor. Connolly, does any other candidate wish to address that point?
Yes, I could not help but notice that with the affordable house and Little Cayman is totally left out. A lot of the people that live down there have their generational land, and they did say that they could build on their land, but nobody in the affordable housing office can really answer any questions at all that you have. Well, I put in my application 2 years ago, for example, and I can't hear nothing back. I have my own land. I cannot qualify through CNB. That's the only bank we have up here, right? So where does that leave the Cayman Brac people that live in Little Cayman? Because it's really and truly not any more Little Caymanians left Little Cayman, and that includes me because I'm from Spot Bay, right? But the Cayman Brac people that live and work in Little Cayman, the handful of them, they have their own land there, and they're not even given an answer. And something has to improve over that. If you have an office, have somebody man it, not a telephone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Does any other candidate wish to address this point? Yes, Mr. Scott.
Thank you. I think one of the processes that we do need to get back to is the speed with which, or the amount of time it takes to get a house approved. It used to be we could turn it around quickly. It used to be you could do all that in the Brac. Now it is taken, in many cases, many months, if not years, to get it done. That in itself puts contractors in a difficult position for them to give fixed prices, in particular when you're dealing with things such as these new tariffs and whatnot. That makes it difficult. The other thing I think we need to look at is the whole question of indigent. Some is affordable home, but we do need indigent housing, which I would say is going to have to be built and managed by government. And it would be someplace where people get a chance to transition back into affordable homes, but we do need indigent housing. And then the final thing I would say is we need to consider new building methods, whether it's pre-engineered buildings and otherwise. We have shied away from that for a long time, but I do think we need to start considering that because the cost normally, as the way we traditionally built, is really becoming quite prohibitive.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Bodden, you have the right to reply.
While we look at the other ways of building, we also have to always bear in mind this hurricane strength buildings, so that we do have to be mindful of. And yeah, we can also do some buildings of, say, like apartments that is owned by government, where people, to give them a start in life can reside until they get their feet on the ground to be able to have something of their own. But to continue like people being without homes, yeah, we do need to look at other ways to help people own their own properties.
The next question is for Ms. O'Connor Connolly. What strategies would you implement to revitalize tourism to promote sustainable economic growth that benefits locals year-round, not just during peak seasons for the sister islands?
Well, I think thank you for the question, Mr. Moderator. I think perhaps one of the first places that we need to start is to continue what we started. We just got a new express, which helps to service much better Little Cayman. We've given a financial commitment for the ATRs to be right-sized for Cayman Brac. And that's important because Cayman Airways is the only commercial airline that fly in here. During special occasions, we get some private jet. We see for Easter, some more coming in to Little Cayman and to Cayman Brac. That gives us the air connectivity, but it also supplements with the reliable and affordable cargo because, as I said, we don't have a dock that is sheltered during inclement weather. We depend on the barge. And I think that that's one area that is ripe for investment with those persons who have funds, is to go back to where we used to own the Kirk Trader, the Kirk Pride and stuff, and have our own shipping, especially now where the U.S. is saying that if the ships have Chinese ownership, it's going to be something like $1 million extra going and coming, and that's going to just escalate the cost of living here. And so the strategy, in addition to right-sizing Cayman Airways, is to look at our port. Our port needs upgrades. The current minister have given undertaking to the crane and to the equipment that needs to be done. And we're not talking about second-hand. We've passed that stage. We need brand new equipment here because we have to wait forever to get proper maintenance that's done. For a long time, we've talked, and again, it's EIAs and objections. The port really needs to go out at the creek another 100, 150 feet for us to be able to bring us up to that modern infrastructure that is necessary for Cayman Brac. Now, that will not go down good in some corners, but for those of us who live here and can't get milk and can't get all those things that we don't produce, know what it is to be reliant on that. So those would be the strategies: our communication, port, as well as aviation. And there are others, but time not permit me to expound.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor Connolly. Does any other candidate wish to address that point?
With the tourism, the new school, we can use that to also boost our tourism by promoting sports tourism, because we have a great facility on top of the Brac bluff where we have a state-of-the-art pool, which are Mr. Crooks swimming, and we have a great track and field that we can also promote for that, and medical tourism based on the equipment that the new school is going to have. We can facilitate that. We have caves here that can be revitalized. I went into tourism in '85 when I was 16, and we had 2 flights a week, Thursday and Mondays, where it came from Tampa with dive people. And it was always full. So somehow we've fizzled out or died away from promoting our tourism. So we need to get back into that.
Thank you, Ms. Bodden. Does any other candidate wish to address this point?
I'll agree with what you just said, Ruth Ann, with the sports tourism and the medical tourism. And we could also add other tourism to it. Like, for example, I know that for the airlines, American, United, Delta, and all those, always been trying hard to come into our international airport here. That was one of the main reasons why they extended it. And up until today, is only occasionally we had, I think it was one American years ago came in. But the feasibility is there for better tourism, direct from the U.S., direct from Jamaica, direct from Honduras. And that way the local people here don't have to pay all of that, nearly $200 more just to go to Grand Cayman to catch a flight. In fact, the plane that goes to Jamaica used to stop in Cayman Brac, pick up the passengers, let off passengers, and go on to Jamaica. Now we got to fly Grand Cayman, and if she stops here let off people, then, it's a lot to do in tourism that, as Ms. Julie said, I don't have the time to say.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Yes, thank you. The fundamental question that I have again around tourism, when I look at the tourism product in Cayman Brac and in Little Cayman, where are our Cayman Brackers and Little Caymanians who traditionally worked in tourism and drove what the product was, and they were the ones that brought people back to the island. And so even as we're talking about tourism, our starting point has to be, how do we get our own people back in there? It used to be that 90% of the workers in these hotels were Cayman Brackers or folks from Grand Cayman.
Hospitality training at school.
We got to get back to it. But part of it is, I don't even think it's hospitality training, it's the desire to do it, to engage young people, to bring them in, and to pay them well to do it. So I think that's one of the critical things that we need to focus on, not just in the Brac and in Little, but in the entire Cayman Islands. Get our people back into that.
Thank you. Ms. O'Connor Connolly, you have the right to reply.
Thank you. As we spoke earlier, and I fully agree, sport tourism, and that's where we've been working on. In fact, we have the funds in for the International Mondo track. We're waiting for the curving contract procurement to be completed on the block. Mondo has the funds, all that procedure has been done. For that, sports tourism is the way to go. The new high school has a basketball court. Most people don't understand, but my cousin Charlie Tatum from Sport Bay, his son is the deputy commissioner for basketball in the States, and that's something we need to roll in the equity on, you know. And so, yes, it won't be Lakers basketball court, but it'll be one where in the winter season, they can come down. There's accommodation there. There's accommodation, more upscale accommodation for that. And I also want to say that scheduling for Cayman Airways, I used to be a director for Cayman Airways for 11 plus years. In fact, I was the legal advisor there with the acquisition of planes. We need to look for more direct flights. As Maxine said, we now have the Saturday flight, but we need to look at Tampa direct. We need to look at Jamaica direct in particular. Those are the most popular and most profitable ones, especially as we look for regional food security. We get a lot of it from Jamaica. And we can also look back at Rotan rather than going through La Ceiba, which has a high crime rate. Most of the persons here are from the Bay Islands. And so I think we need to look at that. It would be lovely to have a direct flight coming through from Panama as well. So I think those are low-hanging fruits that the next government can do. It means that we may have to subsidize Cayman Airways to make sure that we can get those startup, give them 6 to 9 months to make it profitable or at least at cost, and it can be done.
Thank you. That concludes our round of debate. We are running low on time, but I do want to give each candidate the opportunity to give closing statements. So we'll start this time from the right side and move our way back. And we'll begin with you, Mr. Scott.
Well, I'd like to thank Radio Cayman, the moderators, my fellow candidate, and most importantly, the people of Cayman Brac East who are listening. As we heard this evening, there are many views on how we move forward. But this election is not about promises. It's about priorities. I want to be clear about mine. My priority are you, the people of Cayman Brac East, the working families, the young people with no opportunities, and elderly who have too often been neglected. I am not a career politician. I am a servant leader. I build my life on values, faith, family, and country. I have deep roots historically in this country, and they tell me I'm 7th generation. I apparently was here when Columbus arrived. My family was, and I understand what matters and how to make a difference. I hear the cry for change, and Cayman Brac East, as I think the incumbent's running mate would say, Cayman Brac deserves better, and I do agree with that. No more of the same failures. We've had 20 years plus with political parties and different political parties addressing the Brac, and yet we're sitting here today with much of our people still struggling. We clearly need real solutions and the ability to deliver. With the Cayman Islands National Party, we have a real plan to tackle the cost of living, to tackle immigration, to tackle investments in the Brac and Little Cayman, and indeed to restore trust in government. On April 30th, I ask for your support. Let's rise together with courage, with clarity, and let us get focused on what really matters for our people and make the difference. No longer should they be second-class citizens in their own country. So I ask vote number 5, Layman Daniel Scott for Cayman Brac East, and number 1, Nickolas Dacosta for Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman, and indeed across the entire Cayman Island, vote for the Cayman Islands National Park.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Radio Cayman, for finding the time and coming Cayman Brac to do this show for us. And I'm really happy to be here. A lot of Cayman Brackers are wondering why I am not running for Little Cayman and West Cayman Brac West this year. I truly believe that we should be one people, not split in two. And once elected, I will try my endeavor best to make it one election, people, and not Cayman Brac split in half. And we had that all our life. We don't need it to continue it. By now, the people say I got a PhD. The P stands for praising God and persevering for future generations. The H stands for health and education prioritization. And the D means I am determined to get it all done in 4 years, not a lifetime. Now, I am running for Cayman Brac East because Spot Bay is my district. And since one man, one vote, I did not give my people there the opportunity to vote for me like I did when we could do 2 X's. So I'm giving them the opportunity now. And this will be my last term if they do not vote me in this time. Because when this is finished, I'll be trucking 71 if God spare life. And I do intend to enjoy my retirement fully, right? So I'm asking the people of Cayman Brac to give me a chance to show you what I mean from 1996. For those folks that saved all of my manifestos, if you have copies, the hurricanes over the years destroyed them all. They didn't have computers then, so they're all in your brain. But I am the right one. Vote for number 4, Maxine Avon McCoy Moore, Cayman Brac East. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Ms. Juliana O'Connor Connolly.
Thank you once again, Ms. Moderator. Thanks to Radio Cayman, which is no secret, my favorite radio station. That's the reason why I gave you guys almost $4 million to get up to scale, to be competitive, because it's a radio station who actually puts out the truth without being paid by remote workers. Having said that, I want to also thank all of the people of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, because before we had this nonsense, which we did not support one man, one vote, I had the privilege and honor representing both islands, in particular this time under the change of the 2009 Constitution, amended later on by Sir Alden. I've now representing Cayman Brac East. I want to especially thank the people of Cayman Brac East for asking me to come out of what I had planned for retirement to come and represent them. Our people have good common sense, and they would not have asked me to come up if I had just been seen as a career politician. I am proud to be a career politician because my employers were the people of Cayman Brac. I too had the choice of being a partner at Truman Bodden law firm. I gave that up to work full time. I did not go and make a fortune, then come back to take it off on my bucket as one of the things to do. The people of Cayman Brac have employed me. They had a right every 4 years to fire me. They've chosen not to do that. And I have every confidence that they won't do that in this election. I thank Almighty God because He gave me the marching orders. Exodus 14:14, I, the Lord, will fight for you. Hold your peace. And I've held my peace for so much nonsense, but I had to make that response about career politician. I am proud to be a servant leader of the people of Cayman Brac.
Thank you. And finally, but not least, Ms. Bodden.
Thank you, Radio Cayman, for giving us this opportunity. And thank you, candidates from Cayman Brac East, for also being here tonight. I am patriotic Caymanian first, and a real patriotic Bracker. For years, I have fought for things for the Cayman Islands, and mostly for Cayman Brac. I've stood and asked for help from many things. When I saw things needed to be done, I knew who to pick up the phone and call and say, look, let's fix this. So I've had enough years of thinking about that. So for the last 8 years, I've contemplating, let's step out. Let's be the forefront of everything. Get it done. My mom was from Spot Bay. My dad was from Bodden Place. I was born here. I was raised here. And I feel it. I came home every weekend so that I could be here. So I've grown it. I've felt it. And I know what my people need. So it's time for a new face and change. So on April the 30th, vote your number one candidate, Cayman Brac East, Ruth Bodden.
Thank you, Ms. Bodden. And that ends our first debate for tonight. For our second segment, we will welcome candidates from Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman, Mr. Nickolas Dacosta representing the Cayman Islands National Party, and Mr. Lonny Tibbetts, the PPM candidate. We'll have more on that in just a little bit. We want to also say thank you to our debate sponsors, Subway, Reflections, Enterprise Cayman, Yum, UCCI, and Winner's Circle. We'll have the second debate right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Feeding a crowd? Subway Catering makes it easy. Choose from freshly made sub and wrap platters in 2 sizes or go for individual boxed meals. Complete with a 6-inch sub, cookie, and chips. Perfect for groups of 15 or more. And don't forget dessert. Our freshly baked cookie platters come in 2 sizes, so there's always enough to go around. Visit www.subway.ky to view our catering menu. You can call or email us to place your order. Then choose to pick up in-store or get hassle-free delivery. However you cater, we've got the fresh flavors everyone loves. Subway. Eat fresh. Cater with ease.
At Enterprise Cayman, we're connecting ambitious minds with real-world opportunities. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, tech enthusiast, or looking to expand your network, we've got the tools, training, and community to help you thrive. From career-boosting internships to hands-on startup support, this is where innovation begins. Don't miss out on the upcoming hackathon happening May 10th. Explore this and more today at enterprisecayman.ky. Enterprise Cayman. Innovate, connect, grow.
It's spring savings at Reflections. Shop the red tag sale this April at Reflections. Save on kids, men's, and women's selected style shoes and sneakers. Brands like Nike, Puma, Reebok, and Dockers 50% off. Adidas 60% off. Ladies jeans in select styles at 50% off. And ladies tops from $9.99. Men, step out in your Levi's $5.50. Now 25% off. All accessories and handbags 50% off. Shop the red tag sale at Reflections all month long and be entered to win 2 Cayman Airways tickets. That's mad!
Hey, Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents, browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students, just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more. Come on, let me in. Oh, I can't cope with Karen in the office no more, man. Another day of her could drive me mad. I got so much laundry to do home. Oh, another message? Man, is traffic not moving today or what? Come on, let me in now.
Life is all about the choices we make to deal with the office Karens or sit in this long traffic, or a choice to pursue your dreams to improve your future. UCCI. It's not the classes, the grades, or a piece of paper. It's your ticket for the adventure of your choice. The choice to live your dream. Stop waiting on the path. Visit www.ucci.edu.ky. Choose your dream and blaze your trail today.
We are Radio Cayman, covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman. 1 in a million.
You're listening to Radio Cayman's live debate coming to you from the sister island of Cayman Brac. We now go back to the continuation of tonight's subway debate here on Radio Cayman.
Good evening from the Alexander Hotel in Cayman Brac. I'm Jevi Ebanks, one of your moderators for the Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman debate. Also moderating with me is Mr. Orit Connor. Tonight's debate will cover a wide range of topics, including district and national issues. I'd like to thank each of the two candidates for participating in this democratic process, which aims to help voters make a more informed choice among candidates for elected office. The format of the debate will begin with candidate introductions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to deliver a brief introduction. During this time, candidates will introduce themselves, describe their qualifications, and outline their political platform. The question and rebuttal part of the debate consists of a series of questions that will be directed to individual candidates. In the first round, candidates will answer questions in alphabetical order by last name. The following rules will govern this segment. The moderator will ask one question to a selected candidate. The candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question. After the initial response, any candidate who directly is referenced or at the moderator's discretion will have the opportunity to offer a 1-minute rebuttal to the answer. The original responding candidate will then have 2 minutes to reply to the rebuttal. The moderator has the discretion to ask the original responding candidate to clarify their response, if needed, providing the candidate 30 seconds to do so. The duration of the debate will total 75 minutes max. At the conclusion of the debate, each candidate will have 2 minutes to deliver their closing statement. During this time, candidates may summarize their platform and make a final appeal to voters. Each candidate is expected to stay within the time limits. The moderator will ensure strict adherence to the time limits and ensure that each candidate is given equal time to speak. All candidates are expected to maintain a respectful and professional tone throughout the debate. Personal attacks and interruptions will not be tolerated. No personal devices such as cell phones, tablets, iPads, or laptops are allowed for use during the debate. Notes are allowed and notepads have been provided. Having explained the debate format and general rules, I would like to welcome tonight's candidate for Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman. First, with the Cayman Islands National Party, Mr. Nickolas Dacosta, and the PPM candidate, Mr. Lonny Tibbetts. At this moment, we will begin with introduction candidates.
Independent candidate.
My apologies. No. Independent candidate for Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman, Mr. Lonny Tibbetts. We'll begin with introductions from Mr. Dacosta.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening to you all at Radio Cayman, and of course, good evening to everyone listening in Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and the wider Cayman Islands. As mentioned, I am Nickolas Dacosta, and I'm the candidate with the Cayman Islands National Party for Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman. My entire life has been spent in Cayman Brac, apart from education and a few years working in Grand Cayman. I did primary school in Cayman Brac. I did high school at the Cayman Brac High School. I graduated and went off to university. I attained a bachelor's degree in international business and management, and then further, my master's degree in public administration. My life has always been about service. My dedication is to the people of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. For the past 4 years, I have worked in the office of the Premier under 2 premiers, leading the charge for and managing the daily operations of caucus, working side by side with all the ministers and parliamentary secretaries, which gave me great insight into the workings of government and everything that is done to create policy, to bring forward policy, and to better the lives of our people. And I am definitely seeking that opportunity to serve the people of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman and all Caymanians in doing that, in creating better days for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Lonny Tibbetts.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Lonny Tibbetts. I, like many other Brackers, moved to Grand Cayman in 1978 when I was a young boy, with my parents who sought
other opportunities or greater opportunities. I resided in Grand Cayman for a number of years, but I always came home. Both grandparents, family, friends, always here. About 4 years ago, I returned home pretty much full time. I bought a house on the bluff, and over the years I've invested throughout this community. I've also worked at multiple positions within government, private sector, owned my own businesses. I bring a very unique perspective to this position. I have worked for myself. I've owned businesses. I've worked for private sector. I've worked for a regulatory authority. I have also worked for a CEO of a Cayman Islands government company. And having that vast experience combined with my academic background of a bachelor's degree in accounting, double master's, human resources, and business administration, I bring a plethora of experience, knowledge, and know-how to this post. But most importantly, one of the things that I'm most proud of, I was also a marine engineer. I also owned my own marine business, a skill that I learned from my father, a technical vocational skill that is for many times provided me opportunities, employment to myself, and made our community better. It is this gamut that I bring to this table, and I look forward to providing the same effort that I have done all my life to the citizens of Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. We're going to start with our first question, and the first question is to Mr. Dacosta. What actions will you take to protect Little Cayman's pristine ecosystems from its marine life to its bird sanctuaries?
Thank you for the question. The first step that we need to do is to look about a development plan for Little Cayman. We have heard chatter about Plan Cayman and updating the development plan for the country with the choice in the previous administration to begin with 7 Mile Beach because 7 Mile Beach is in dire straits. But that is a reactionary position. That was reacting to a problem. We need to be more proactive in our decisions before we lose it. As we've been discussing, our environment is precious, and once our environment is gone, it is gone, no longer for anyone to enjoy. So the first step that I would propose doing is to update and create a bespoke development plan for Little Cayman, taking into perspective the unique makeup, the natural landscape of Little Cayman, and to ensure that it is protected for all of our Caymanians living in Little Cayman, and for those that visit Little Cayman to enjoy for many, many years to come.
Thank you. Mr. Tibbetts, do you wish to respond?
Yes, thank you. It is without a question that our reefs, our environment, is probably one of the number one attractions to our entire country. We've seen what overdevelopment has done in Grand Cayman. We've seen our beach, 7 Mile Beach, destroyed, eroded by poorly planned, poorly thought out development. Little Cayman sits in it's almost its original pristine state that God gave it to us as, and blessed us with such a country and such an island. I would certainly hope that we provide the current resources to both police the protection of the reef, maintain, mark, and identify all of our channels correctly, our marine parks correctly, and equally ensure that marine life is not taken by any and everyone. Visitors to our island, as well as expatriate workers to our island, should be prohibited expressly from taking marine life in any way, shape, or form from our natural resources. And in addition, the protection of the reef is also part of an external exposure in regards to oil tankers, oil spills. We certainly need boats, systems, and services in place to protect against that.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, you do have, as the original responder, you do have the right to reply.
Yes, thank you. No, the reefs are definitely important, and that is where we lean on the expertise of, for example, the Little Cayman-based CCMI to lead research projects in how we can protect our reefs that can be found nowhere else in the world. These problems that we are discussing, this one in particular, is something that has been chatted about for many years. We know that we need more enforcement of protecting our reefs. We know we need more bodies on the ground ensuring that the fish, reef fish, small fish aren't taken, and nothing has been done about it. So we need to ensure that that is coming forward, as I said, because once those things are gone, we no longer have access to it.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts, this next question is to you. How will your policies transform educational opportunities on Cayman Brac, ensuring young people can thrive without leaving the island?
Now, first of all, we have to look again. I think this is a low-hanging fruit for all of us in our country right now, a bona fide development plan that takes into account our current asset value or structure of our citizens academically. I would motion for a complete workforce study, not of our foreign nationals that are here. That's readily available. That's Control-C on a keyboard at immigration. But something on our own citizens. What quantity of our citizens in this country have high school, associates, bachelor's, master's, PhD, certificates, etc. That gives us an asset value, a true, what you would consider a true perspective of our academic capacity and our ability then to meet jobs. The second thing that I would do is, if you're looking at any development in Cayman Brac, it's very easy to say, what are you going to build? What jobs are going to be created by this? And how do we start a program to start training our people to meet the needs of those jobs? So we don't, as we have done historically, migrate to Grand Cayman for greater opportunities. It's a very simple protocol when it comes to education. It's simply like a production line. You're producing something for someone else to use. In other words, we need to start with employers, see what the needs are here, and then see what people are willing, how do we train and get our students and our young people available and accessible to those jobs, and the work permit no longer becomes an issue. But we also have to manage it with what I consider a downward trend in remuneration, whereby we can obtain qualified people from foreign countries to work here for minimum wage, that if a Caymanian had the same skill, they would be at $50,000 and $60,000 a year. We have to examine that and say, what are you really when you come here?
Thank you, Mr. Lonny. Mr. Dacosta, do you wish to respond?
Yes, the issue is that for far too long we've been operating in silos where our government departments aren't connected. As Lonny mentioned, there is no foresight. There has been no foresight from our leadership in where our economy needs to go. Where are we heading? How can we prepare our young people for those jobs that are coming up? And like I said, this has been festering and growing. The leadership has done nothing about it, and that is what we're here to change. In the National Party's manifesto, it is we are going to champion a national workforce development plan to ensure that we know the trajectory of our economy and jobs for Caymanians right here in Cayman Brac, and also grow our own teachers here on Cayman Brac with a pathway to that career.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts, you do have a right to reply.
I also want to say that my experience as a former director of labor of the country, I put together a plan called the Passport to Success program. I presented it to the Honorable Ralston Anglin, and it was subsequently utilized to a limited perspective. The reality of that program is that it was an 8-stage program, well documented. What it did for the first time in an education program, it integrated the child into the academic perspective of what they wanted to be and what they needed to achieve that qualification, to achieve that career. For whatever reason, the first components of it were left out and the last 3 were utilized. That needs to be put in back in at 100%. And the technology that children use today is what's going to drive them to utilize the app, utilize the system, and recognize, if this is what I want to be, this is how I have to train. What they want to be and how they have to train comes from the the workforce, from the employers, who need to feed back into the system what they have. That's a Control-C button at immigration. You can pull every person that's on a work permit in the country, their complete resume, qualifications in 5 minutes, and you know the post that they're in. So the data is there. And as Nickolas alluded to, this is our problem. We've got all this information everywhere. It's siloed and no one's sharing it on an aggregate level for us to make a quality decision.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, the next question is for you. How will your leadership enhance community services and amenities for the close-knit population of Little Cayman?
So Little Cayman is unique and it's close-knit, where you have 150 residents there. Some are part-time residents, some are Caymanians living there part of the year, some are full-time. In Little Cayman, we have 55 voters. Visiting Little Cayman and being amongst the people, you see that they're a resilient bunch where they create activities for themselves to enjoy, where they come together on a weeknight, on a Wednesday night or a Saturday night and shut down Blossom Village Road to play volleyball, they play football, they do quizzes. It is a family on that island. Having been in the Lions Club now for the past 11 years, I've seen what it takes to ensure that we work together for the greater good in taking care of each other. So Little Cayman already has a good system in place where they are creating those opportunities to operate as a family. So we need to provide the resources that they need. It could be as simple as a football goal for them to kick balls in. They aren't given what they are needed. And that's the problem with Little Cayman. In all respects, they have been forgotten about for decades, left to their own devices, whereas leaders on the outside have made decisions on their behalf, but then said, go about and live your life. We are going to change that.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts, do you wish to respond?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How will your policies, wrong question. How will your leadership enhance community services and amenities for the close-knit population of Little Cayman?
One word, communication. The many people that I've met in Little Cayman, including families and friends, a lot of the challenges or a lot of the concerns or a lot of what I consider kind of a discourse they have is a lack of communication about what's being planned, what's going on, how it's progressing, and where it stands. I met a very nice gentleman there that explained to me, had a beautiful meeting with the Sister Islands housing development group organization, talking about the housing assistance program, gave all the information, and he said it's been 8 months and no one's called him back. So they need leaders. They need someone that's going to be there, talk to them, meet with them, and continue to follow up and get needs done. This is something I've done all my life. I coordinated 350 people overseas a month out of my previous post. And I never dropped the ball on any call, any email, or on anyone. And it was late, but they got the recurring call.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, you do have the right to reply.
Yes, thank you. I think it would suffice it to say that based on everything that we've discussed with Little Cayman, and to go with the tagline of Mr. Tibbetts, Little Cayman definitely deserves better than what they've had. They need better than what they have had. I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts, the next question is for you, staying on the topic of Little Cayman. How will your policies strike the balance between boosting sustainable tourism and safeguarding Little Cayman's tranquil charm?
Well, that's a tough task, but it can be done. We have to examine, first of all, it's almost back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need to go back to what basic needs are for any country, any city, any town, and obviously any island. First being, we need transportation protocols in place, meaning what goes in and out of that island or aircraft. We need to examine the safety of that runway, the capacity of that runway, and obviously a few people know this. The runway is actually coordinated and orchestrated by Cayman Airways. They're a national airline. They're not an airport authority. The airports authority has no say on that airstrip there. So having said that, those are some of the challenges that we have to look at to say we need to get this right. In addition, the aircraft that land in that is limited to 9 seaters. We're landing more than that on that airport because we're signing a document to contradict the requirements of the civil aviation on a field that is not safe. We have fire departments there with a truck with a rusting chassis. You can go to the licensing department here today with a rusting chassis and they'll fail your vehicle until you sell it for parts. Yet we have fire trucks there in that condition. So when you're trying to strike a balance between that is, first of all, we need to get the infrastructure, the equipment, the machines, and the people there to balance what we contain the sustainable needs, design it. We need paved roads. We need an airstrip. We need, now, when we get to the development part of it, we're now authorizing 50, 60, 70 lots of land. People aren't just buying land for the sake of buying land. They eventually want to build a home one day. Mm-hmm. And what's going to take to put that home together? We're going to need a greater sewage. We're going to need some sewage system. You don't want it in our sea. We're going to need a water authority because we can't pump the salt water that's there. We need a better dump system, recycling program. We don't even have equipment at the dump to push the garbage down. We have to use private sector to do that. It's a balance between both, but we don't have anything there now that we can say we can do anything.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, I'm going to give you the chance to respond, but I'm going to give you an additional 10 seconds to respond as well.
Thank you very much. What we need to do first in Little Cayman is ensure that those who reside in Little Cayman and care deeply about Little Cayman are given the basic necessities that they need to live. They need water. Currently, the water is provided by 3 private RO plants, producing 28 gallons per minute. 28 gallons per minute. And then when all of those go down, the people in Little Cayman have no water source. They have to go and borrow water from other people's cisterns to survive. We need the proper port infrastructure in Little Cayman, not one that's left free for all, where people taking each other's stuff out the containers by accident, but still getting charged port fees. We need to upgrade our roads. The roads in Little Cayman are a travesty. Again, this is not something that is developed overnight. It is something that has happened under the watch of our leadership that we have had. And it needs to be fixed. And that is why I am putting myself forward to provide that new way forward for the sister islands.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts, you do have the right of reply.
Yeah, in addition, I think that to those infrastructure components, the other thing that we need to do too, we need to recognize Little Cayman, as beautiful as it is, the majority of the voice that's being heard on Little Cayman are foreigners that aren't natives. The natives that live there have basic needs. They've been screaming for them forever, and everything that they say they need suddenly challenges environment. Well, where's the hypocrisy? I guarantee those foreigners that live there come from planned communities with paved roads, propane lines to their house, overhead lights, underground utilities, and complain if you decide to pave the road because it's going to affect birds. We have to balance this. We have to give all of our citizens a basic set of roads, lights, city water, sewage, and a garbage dump. Then we're even. Then we decide what we push forward for.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Gentlemen, at this time, I'll turn over to my co-moderator, Mr. Connor, for the next round of questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And gentlemen, good night. We meet again.
Yes, sir.
This first question is for Mr. Dacosta. Healthcare. How will you ensure that every resident of Little Cayman has access to top-notch healthcare and emergency services?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator number 2. Little Cayman is currently served by a dedicated nurse, full-time nurse that wears all hats, as we normally have to do in the sister islands. And currently, they get 1 day per week with a visit from a doctor. And as we recently learned this morning on your show, based on the announcement that you read, the doctor's visit for today was cancelled. And now a doctor's not going to Little Cayman until next week. Unfortunately, our health cannot wait. Our health sometimes is emergent, as you mentioned. So we need to increase our doctors' visit, the frequency of our doctors visiting Little Cayman, because those lives matter. We need to ensure they are given the proper care and the proper service to live and lead healthy lifestyles. So I will ensure that the doctors are more frequent in Little Cayman than is currently being served, than currently being done.
Mr. Tibbetts, response?
Yes. There is limited health care in Little Cayman, and for what reason, I'll never quite understand. I do believe a longer period, maybe 1 week at a time for a physician visit, but I also do know that telemedicine is available, and there is fiber on Little Cayman to a certain extent or capacity for telemedicine portal. Simply put, the physician, the doctor, and the patient in the room to examine all the basic, the current condition of the member of the person. The doctor can then prescribe. The doctor can make an appeal to say, look, this person needs to be moved, etc. But telemedicine can put some of the world's specialists on Little Cayman from anywhere in the world in 5 minutes. So we have to examine a telemedicine portal very quickly. That will immediately relieve the physician from the actual person in place. And in the event of what we described today, or what happened today, you will have someone that can still call in and still deal with a member and go from there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dacosta. Right.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if telemedicine was reliable enough to be relied upon in Little Cayman? I'm sure that, I agree, telemedicine would be wonderful. But first, we have to address the issue of our internet in Little Cayman. Unless we have a direct submarine cable in Little Cayman, providing more than the current 5 megabits per second download speed, telemedicine can't work. The people in Little Cayman need access, face-to-face access with our medical doctors until the infrastructure is there to support telemedicine.
Okay, Mr. Tibbetts, this next question is to you. But before we go there, I'd like to explain and apologize to our audience as well as to you in terms of labeling you a PPM candidate.
I've been called worse. I can assure you that.
And I guess the story that you gave to me in terms of being draped with the red shirt, that must have rubbed off on some people.
I'm telling you, it's by no means what it is. I'm very pleased and honored to be endorsed by Mr. Moses Kokornel, who is a true PPM member. However, I'm on an affiliated basis with them, friendly basis, and if I'm successful come April 30th, who knows what cards may play.
Certainly. Okay, so in relation to small businesses, what is your plan to support small businesses and entrepreneurs in the Sister Islands?
Well, I have been one all my life. It starts with building the competence, the capability, the training, the education for young people to undertake different tasks, vocational training, electricians, plumbers. Those are usually the very simplest positions to start your own business. The second tier is then obviously a rental, a business, a building. It has to take the academic and educational component as well as the training or operational of business. You can have very good technically trained mechanic or engineer, but don't quite understand how a business works. That needs to be a complement. And small businesses, and I do believe the DCI has a very good program in assisting young Caymanians, business entrepreneurs, to assist them with getting an understanding of how a business really functions from a very micro perspective. We need to also, in some way, shape, or form, start looking at expanding some of our internal services here, but to a private sector perspective. There are a lot of jobs that are done here that are done because traditionally the government undertook almost everything that could be done on this island because it was just for the government. But our population is growing. There are certain services that can be provided similarly as they've done in Grand Cayman by the private sector, by private individuals. And those are the opportunities, if created by central government, will create private businesses opportunities for young people to strive and determine their own path in life. And I certainly would support, again, I would support even a reduction in business fees. I think we're at 70 or 50% of what it is in Grand Cayman, and we're only 2,000 people population compared to 80. I think that proportional distribution is wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. To support the small businesses in the Sister Islands, what I would propose, and what I'm certainly championing after April 30th, is that all fees for businesses in the Sister Islands the business license fees are waived for 2 years. We have a small population here, and we need support in allowing our businesses to catch back up with the cost of living that has put a hamper on our businesses. So we need to allow that breathing room, waive the fees for 2 years. In addition to that, cut the red tape with the 1 year business licenses, introduce multi-year business licenses so that businesses know that they're set for 5 years, 3 years, or whatever we want to do. But it allows them to go forward. You can get a driver's license for 3, 5, or 10 years. Why not get a business license for the same period?
Okay, and Mr. Tibbetts, you have a final right of response if you so wish.
Yes. I also believe that there are back office jobs that are very technical in nature that can be presented here again for opportunities for Caymanians, young Caymanians to partake, own, and participate in other than just being an employee. We've seen what Brac Informatics has done here. We've seen what government themselves have expanded a lot of their departments here and made representation. And that spawns the plumber, the electrician, the construction worker, the paper sales, the pen sales, all of those little things add up at the end. I certainly would like to see not only a reduction, but I would love to see a complete business fee waiver. But that is a struggle in government because it's still the perspective that we need something from something. So, but if we get it, it would be good. And we do have capacity from a technological perspective. The internet speed, fiber optic in Cayman Brac is very good. But again, we need it Little Cayman as well. And we need that capacity, which is we're a modern world, World Wide Web now. Businesses, 90% of business have some contact with the web.
Okay, thank you. This next question is first directed to you, Mr. Dacosta, vocational training. What initiatives would you introduce to expand vocational training and better prepare students for the workforce?
The issue that we have with technical and vocational training is that we wait until it's too late to start to introduce it. We need to introduce TVET in our schools much earlier than what we do now, after they've graduated high school. The Cayman Islands National Party is proposing in our manifesto to introduce TVET within our schools as early as year 5, to equip our children in this country with real life skills that they can turn into a valuable career. Not every student is going to become a lawyer, an accountant, a business owner. But we need those children, those young Caymanians, to support our society by real valuable jobs. And through that, we introduce TVET early in our schools, introduce it into the curriculum where children's minds can absorb it better and they can find the pathway of where they want to go.
Thank you. Mr. Tibbetts, wish to respond?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. It's in regards to vocational training. What initiatives would you introduce to expand vocational training and better prepare students for the workforce?
Expand what, sir?
Vocational training.
We have none now. It's a joke what we have. And I will compliment a member on his team, Mr. Michael Miles, and I share the same sentiment. What we have, the best vocational training program I have ever witnessed in the Cayman Islands was in the Northward Prison. God rest his soul, Dr. Rattray. The best in the Cayman Islands was in Northward Prison. What does that say about how disconnected our education system is with the actual work that's being done in this community? I've never understood why it was so, not even on the totem pole. And he recognized it. The prisoners built a garage system there where they teach electrical, plumbing, everything they taught themselves, and they walked over the Pitman's exam, Pitman certificate, once they passed in our prison. I saw it at the Labor Department. I didn't know what to say. Now, having said this, we have missed the boat on this. And I agree with what your teammate has said. We have got to revamp this completely. Mm-hmm. And we start at a younger age recognizing. Okay. International labor standards say one of the largest growth in any businesses and any jobs in the world are TVET.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, final right of response.
I'm just really encouraged to hear Mr. Tibbetts speak about our education system needing revamping and introducing TVET, and I'm sure his running mate, our current education minister, is grateful to have his support in ways that we can do that.
Okay. Mr. Tibbetts, this next question comes to you first. How would you enhance disaster preparedness and resilience on the sister islands to protect communities and infrastructure?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think it was, I can't remember the exact year, but the world watched on Christmas Day when tsunami engulfed the entire coast of a nation. We subsequently seen it after in Japan. Now, having said that, we now recognize that we need a full system for tsunami warning. We also need to recognize that low-lying areas are both susceptible to flood. Hurricanes, we have a significant advantage with modern technology and satellites. We get a sufficient warning. But we want to ensure that we have the resources, we have the training, and everything we build, just like the new high school that our Honorable Premier is building, it's multi-purpose. So in the event we have to evacuate the retirement home or the hospital, we now have a greater facility that can accommodate those people, including Daston Rudder Center, to help get our citizens in a safer place for both any threat of tsunami or any threat of hurricane or anything else. We even get earthquakes in the Cayman Islands now, which was very rare years ago. So the global warming issue is there, but the capacity to respond is all about training and equipment.
Mr. Dacosta?
Thank you for the opportunity. For disaster preparedness, something we've been talking about since the launch of it is to get our Coast Guard here. We have members of the regiment here in Cayman Brac on reserve, ready to go in the event of a disaster, but we have no boats. We have no Coast Guard here in the Sister Islands, and that's one thing we need to do. We also need to move all of our essential services to the bluff. We need to create an emergency command center in the center of the bluff, a fire station, a police, a hospital, a retirement home, because currently, as was just mentioned, in the event of a disaster, an imminent disaster, we have to quickly move all of our elderly people who are under medical care to the bluff in a facility that's not built, purpose-built for them. In addition to that, any new facilities that are built in Cayman Brac, including the new high school, needs to be rated as a hurricane shelter. We need to ensure that's being done. Because we can, if we fail to prepare, we prepare to fail. And that's it.
Okay. Right of response, final right of response.
Yes, sir. I'd also like to add that we do have some of the finest men in our fire service. We just had a very good class of graduates and very pleased that they're all back here in the Brac and working. I would like to see a day where we can upskill those firemen, both for monetary reward and also for safety and responsiveness. Most of them are all EMT trained, but I would love to see a paramedic unit within the fire department in all of our islands. I'd like to see one on the bluff to mitigate response times, and certainly would like to see any and all of these raised to the level of the bluff, on top of the bluff, both the public works department, and we certainly got a school we started. And in any of that emergency, I would like to see another fire department in the spot-based Stake Bay area on the bluff for responses, quicker responses to Stake Bay as well. So those are the things that we can accommodate very simply, but creates both opportunities for jobs and enhancement in career for existing officers.
Thank you. Mr. Dacosta.
Yes, sir.
To you next. Residents of the Sister Islands have long expressed concerns about the high cost of living, particularly regarding shipping expenses and inter-island air travel. If elected, what specific measures would you implement to alleviate these financial burdens and improve access to essential goods and services?
That's a long question.
Yes.
I
Prepare to repeat it if there are portions of it that you need.
I think I scribbled enough to get it. If not, I know Mr. Tibbetts will fill in the gaps. But our cost of living is definitely high in the Sister Islands because we pay double for everything to get it here. I used an example earlier where it's just unconscionable that the government would create regulations and increase fees in our Port Authority regulations. Example for something, it's a luxury item, it's a necessity still, but a car. You buy a car from a dealership in Grand Cayman, they've already factored in all the fees that it costs to bring something into the country. $300 at the port alone for importing a car, as stated in the regulations. You ship that same car from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac on your own, you're going to pay that $300 again. And they apply that discriminatorily to the Sister Islands. Although we are not a separate country, they treat us as though we are a separate country. The crane at the dock limits the capacity at which we can offload our goods there, and that increases the cost as well. So we need to upgrade all of our infrastructure. These things have been festering and growing for years, and we cannot continue to recycle old leadership styles of just turning a blind eye to it. We need to address these immediately because our people are suffering. Our people are suffering because nothing is being done. The inter-island travel, Cayman Airways is often referred to as a tool to bring people to our visitors to our islands, to create competition and to keep prices low, open new gateways. But then that same tool is used to hurt our people in the Sister Islands, where a family of 5 with 3 young children pay more than $500 to get to Grand Cayman, sometimes for essential services and medical appointments. We are treating our people unfair in the Sister Islands.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Tibbetts, you wish to respond?
Definitely, please. Repeat that for me.
Okay. Residents of the Sister Islands have long expressed concerns about the high cost of living, particularly regarding shipping expenses and inter-island air travel. If elected, what specific measures would you implement to alleviate these financial burdens and improve access to essential goods and services?
Thank you, Ruth. I think, first of all, we have touched base on the port. I'm very pleased to say that I think I've made so much noise about it that the actual Port Authority board came, reviewed the crane, and we now have somewhat of a firm commitment that we should be receiving a new crane come December. Why that's so important? Its lifting capacity is pretty much, I estimate, to be double. So you can now load one container with double the weight and only pay one shipping charge. I would certainly like to see the port fees for anything shipped between the two islands waived. I think it's totally unnecessary because you're domestic between each other. I'd like to see the landing fees between Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac on each airplane ticket between here and Grand Cayman also waived. And the tax that we paid on these tickets between here and Grand Cayman should also be waived.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have time for more questions, Ms. Kathy?
Do I respond? Respond.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you very much. One more thing that we need to do is reduce our reliance on shipping goods in. We need to look about investing in innovative ways to alleviate what we ship into this country. We have a young Caymanian in Grand Cayman that started up Primitive Greens that can supply farmed goods and produce in containerized plants. We need to invest in vertical farming, hydroponics. That way our country has a sustainable way of providing food, the food security for our people. Little Cayman would do well with that because it's 7 weeks before they get a head of lettuce on the boat. By the time it reaches Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, maybe a little less. But we need to provide food right here at home for our people because there is many days that the barge does not come to the Sister Islands. And then when it comes by plane, it's even more expensive. So we need to find ways to produce it right here at home to alleviate costs.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts, what policies or incentives would you support to facilitate the transition to renewable energy? And how would you address the potential challenges in implementation?
Well, I'm very, very much aware that Island Energy here is examining the capacity of a solar farm. The application has been in the works with off-regs. This example I'm giving you is a typical example that many of the government agencies or many of private sector struggle with government agencies, the delay in the response. It's been in there for over 18 months, nearly 2 years, and we haven't had any response to that. I would certainly like to see anything to do with solar energy, any type of alternative other than diesel fuel generated electricity examined and made duty free for Cayman Brac. I would love to see the capacity whereby you grid your home and the Island Energy and other agencies that are there are both as similar to Grand Cayman, pay the homeowner for their investment via what they contribute to the grid. I do believe the fixed cost is here for Island Energy that has to be covered because of the provision and the services that they do. But I do believe we can meet in the middle and become self-sufficient in our own homes with the proper use of solar as a renewable energy source, as well as, listen, we can talk all we want. In the Brac, it is so much sunlight here, we get it in the night also. So we're not sure of solar capacity here.
Mr. Dacosta?
Yes, no, of course. I mean, the issue is red tape.
Yeah.
Island Energy has had an investment plan in with Offreg since they purchased Island Energy, since DART purchased Island Energy. 2 years now. 2 years, and it's been sitting with Offreg for approval to bring a cheaper alternative to diesel-generated electricity. The sister islands need renewable energy to bring electricity costs down. It may take government perhaps providing, with the incentives, a rebate on the expense, the capital outlay for purchasing that renewable energy. What we learned from CUC in Grand Cayman is that we cannot afford to give up all of our land mass in creating solar farms. We need to use our rooftops. We need to use parking garages, parking structures. We need to be innovative in how we apply our solar energy panels, because with all the solar panels in Grand Cayman, it only produces 3% of renewable electricity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Tibbetts, response?
No, I do believe the government should subsidize solar systems. It is clearly, it's an abundant resource that is available to us, like I said, every day, sometimes in the night. And it will produce energy that for also, more importantly, not just for what we consume now, but for our possible expansion in the future. Because Cayman Brac is going to grow, and that's why we're all screaming for a national development plan. We don't want to get there with diesel-generated electricity at that time. It's just completely going backwards.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we still have about 8 minutes or so to go. So Mr. Ebanks will continue with the questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. This question goes to Mr. Dacosta, am I right? What is the importance of more effective recycling programs to reduce waste going into the landfill?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What is the importance of more effective recycling programs to reduce waste going into the landfill?
Thank you for the question. We have seen the issue of our growing landfills and not being able to come up with solutions to reduce the waste. Recycling is the first step that we can use. It takes an education program, changing of mindset. One of the easiest and fastest ways to reduce the waste going into the landfill is to implement mandatory recycling for restaurants, bars, service industries. They produce a lot of glass, a lot of aluminum, a lot of plastic. And if you take all of that away from those businesses, it avoids going into the landfill. So we need to educate, create a campaign on education. But even right here in the sister islands, Cayman Brac especially, there are no recycling depots. None. In my time in government, I asked repeatedly, where are the recycling dumpsters for Cayman Brac? Oh, it's coming. We haven't seen it yet. So we cannot get our people to recycle if we don't provide them with the outlet to do so. We need to get there first, and then we can start to reduce the waste going into the landfill.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts.
Yes, I'd like you to repeat the question, please.
What is the importance of more effective recycling programs to reduce the waste going into the landfills?
The critical importance is we have a finite land mass in our 3 islands. If we don't put a program in place, we are just going to eventually be one large dump. We have the tallest mountain in Grand Cayman right now is the Georgetown landfill. Mm-hmm. That's now visible and proven, ironically, by a close family member from the beautiful deck of every cruise ship that comes into Georgetown Harbor. First thing they see when they roll over the horizon is the Georgetown dump. What more can I say? We don't recycle. We're less than 5% recycling in this country. We have a young generation that's fully aware of how to recycle, what to recycle. We haven't provided. It needs to be a national campaign. Mm-hmm. It needs to have multiple garbage cans deployed in the home. It needs to have multiple vehicles to collect the different various types of garbage. It needs to have a fine mechanism for putting the cardboard with the refuse, with the plastic, just like everywhere else in the world. But it has to take change. Again, if we don't rid our country of cowardice and hypocrisy in our leadership, we will have the most beautiful mountain in the Caribbean of garbage in all 3 islands.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, you have a right to reply.
No, thank you.
We'll move on to the next question. What initiative, Mr. Tibbetts, this is to you. What initiatives would you pursue to improve transportation links between the sister islands and Grand Cayman, enhancing mobility for residents and supporting economic activities?
Well, certainly I'd like to see an international flight or a linked mechanism on Fridays for overseas travel to and from the U.S. We had a flight scheduling before that was very well collaborated, and I certainly believe the capacity is there that we land. You don't have to take your whole Friday off to catch a flight in Grand Cayman to go to Miami. Ideally, I would like to see some capacity where even once a month we have a direct flight from Cayman Brac to Miami and even to Tampa, Florida, where a lot of our Cayman Brac students are studying, and we have a fairly good community that's there. I would like to see possibly, if not a third SAB, I do believe we have, I can't remember the exact name of the aircraft that's already being looked at that has greater capacity than the SAB, a shorter runway yield or a requirement, and I think a little taller headroom to increase the complement to the existing routes. I'd certainly like to see more business-minded travel for Cayman Brac and Grand Cayman, being we get 2 flights that leave early on Monday mornings and 2 flights that arrive early on Friday evening, and obviously 1 on Sunday night. That gives for what we consider domestic tourism to complement the existing tourism on our island, and at the same time provide more jobs, more opportunities for our people here in Cayman Brac to service those flights.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta.
Yes, thank you. I can tell you certainly in no uncertain terms, what we do not need is another SAB. Those aircrafts probably served us well for 1 day. It was a band-aid approach to our needs. What we need are the larger aircrafts that Cayman Airways and others have been talking about, the ATR 72. It is what we need for the sister islands for domestic travel. And we also need that direct linkage to Tampa. And currently, if you want to go to Miami for the weekend from Cayman Brac, you have to take off the day on a Friday. Mm-hmm. To get back home on a Sunday, mm-hmm. you have to use American Airlines to come home on a Sunday evening. Every single flight that flies into Grand Cayman from any international direction needs a connecting flight to Cayman Brac by the end of the day to serve these people. We need to upgrade this airport. It is an embarrassment on a Friday night, Saturday night, or Sunday night to see the jet come in and people are packed like sardines. Rather than spending $40 million on the private air terminal in Grand Cayman, government should have prioritized this, which they had a groundbreaking ceremony for years ago, and it still remains neglected.
Mr. Tibbetts, do you wish to exercise your right of response?
Yes, I do agree. that we do need to expand our airport here. We do need to upgrade the services here. But we also have to recognize that the frequency of our flights that are coming in and out of here now is the best they've ever been in a long, long time. With regards to this, to a third Saab versus the other aircraft, we also have to recognize aircraft are like cars and motors, for example. When you change brand and model, you're talking an entire investment into all of the services, the training, the tools, and parts, whereby it's easier to keep three going. Now, I do recognize that on the fleet of the Saabs are there, but the Saabs have done us very well. And if we had a third Saab, for example, we would mitigate the risk of downtime and have greater capacity to service them more thoroughly on the days off when the planes aren't flying. So we have to balance that. But the safety record of that alternative aircraft equally needs to be examined. It ain't all that glitters is gold with that thing.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta, I think you have the right of reply, or was this his?
I think that was your question.
Sorry, this was his question. My apologies.
Okay.
I was conscious of the time, and I know that we are getting close to the end. I do want to ensure that you guys have an opportunity to give your closing statements. Oh, but I'm going for it. One last question. How will your candidacy, and if you're elected, leadership, protect and celebrate Cayman's rich cultural heritage while fostering community pride? Mr. Dacosta, first to you.
Yes, thank you. It's certainly a link that I see that we are becoming more proud as a people in this generation, because I think we started to lose it. We started to lose sight of who we've come from, where we have built. But it all goes back to our education system as well. We need to continue that the children coming up understand where we came from. Growing up in Cayman Brac, and as young as I am, I had the opportunity to experience back in sand from the bay into my grandmother's yard. I had the experience of going into Anan's caboose and watching her cook a heavy cake. Many young people in Grand Cayman, my age, did not receive that opportunity because the traditions were long gone. We need to continue educating our children on our past, our stories, our traditions, our dialect. Everything about us needs to continue on. When I was in high school, they started a pilot project of teaching citizenship in class. That lasted half a year, and then it didn't go anywhere. So now the alternative is we have a course at UCCI when we're in our adult life rather than when we're younger. We need to reintroduce after-school programs with teaching arts and crafts in the school. That's where I learned to plait thatch. I can still plait 11-string, 7-string, 5-string. And we also need to create those programs all year round, not just at a set time.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta. Mr. Tibbetts.
Repeat the question, please.
Yes. How will your leadership protect and celebrate Cayman Brac's rich cultural heritage while fostering community pride?
I think, first of all, I listen. This is key important, the most important thing in any role that you play in life. Secondly, I am who I am. I'm a hardworking person. I am an underdog. I've never gotten anything in life for free. I've worked for it all my life. I am proud to have the parents that I have. The rest of my father's passed on, that has taught me the value of hard work. And I see myself, so someone else that's coming through life and struggling, that has been there and done that and born in a house with an outside toilet, to say you can achieve things if you put your mind to it. My culture, my heritage, that's in my blood. And it's very hard for me not to be a Braca. But more importantly, it's very hard for me not to help my fellow Brackers. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. We're now reached the point of closing. I'm going to start in the reverse, so Mr. Tibbetts don't get too comfortable, because we're starting with you with your closing statement.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Radio Cayman and my good friend, Mr. O.C., for both this morning and tonight. I also like to thank my counterpart for partaking, because some of the no-shows were ugly. And I'd also like to say to the listening audience that's out there, I'm very proud to be part of this candidacy. I'm proud to be part of what I consider a very good group of individuals that are vying for the post to represent these two islands. I've presented, it's there, what I've done, how I've done it, how hard I've worked to get what I've got. I'm also very proud that we're not in the mudslinging up here. There's some issues there, but I don't partake in that. We're all one. We are all Brackers, and we all have different perspectives on how to get things done. But at the end of the day, what we aim to do is to make Cayman Brac better. Brac Deserves Better is my website that I represent for both Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman. And it says it all right there. We've been too long neglected by central government. We've been the stepsister islands. We've been the what left recipients. I can assure you, come April 30th, you give me that opportunity to represent my constituencies. I will take the full set of tools to that LA, and I will work hard night and day to make sure we get our fair share and we are put on a level playing field in all aspects of academics, opportunities, and a way forward.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Mr. Dacosta.
Thank you very much to you, Mr. Ebanks. Thank you very much to Mr. Connor and all at Radio Cayman for facilitating the debate that we had tonight. And of course, to Mr. Tibbetts for participating with me. It's good to have a conversation with somebody other than myself and about what needs to happen and how we're moving forward. We are in this because we both deserve, Brac and Little Cayman deserve better. But not only do our sister islands and the country deserve better, they deserve the best. And that's why I am prepared to continue working for the sister islands and ensuring that we have a new pathway, a new way forward of bringing unity, prosperity, and hope to all of our people. Too many of our people are continuing to walk along on a daily basis saying they've lost hope. They don't know where tomorrow is going to go for them, what's going to come their way. And we need to bring that hope back to them. For the past 4 years, I've worked 7 days a week in all sorts of odd hours to bring about the change that this country needs, that our sister islands needs. It will require stamina. I've written cabinet papers. I have written urgent cabinet papers. I have advised on policy. I know what we need to do on day one to bring our islands forward and lift our people up. And that is what I'm going to do. I have always been dedicated to the people of the sister islands and of course all Caymanians in general. My community service track record is there for the people. My work for the people is always there. I offer not promises but principles. I offer integrity. And I ask that on April 30th, you vote number 1 in Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman, Nickolas Dacosta.
Thank you, Mr. Dacosta, and thank you to Mr. Tibbetts for joining us here tonight for our second debate for Cayman Brac. That ends tonight's debates for Radio Cayman. Thank you to our debate sponsors, Subway, Reflections, Enterprise Cayman, Yum, UCCI, and Winner's Circle. Thank you as well to our listeners on the airwaves and streams and to the candidates for their participation. From the Alexander Hotel in Cayman Brac, I'm Jevi Ebanks for Radio Cayman. Have a good night.